there, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here with more career advice and job interviewing tips for you. And as a quick reminder, if you enjoy our podcast, please remember to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes. And on today's podcast, do yourself a favor and check those laptop settings for video interviews ahead of time. You know, in today's world, a lot of people live out of town, they live out of state. They're interviewing for a job they may have to relocate for, or maybe they're interviewing for a job that works remotely. So the employer or the recruiter will do a video interview or a video conference before they spend money to fly you in. So often I see people make mistakes, or they're not set up in time, or they're not set properly before the video interview starts, and it just goes bad. Here are 4 things that goes through the interviewer's head when you start a video interview and something gets messed up, or the settings aren't correct, or technically something happens. There's 4 things that happen in the interviewer's head. Here they are. Number 1, they're thinking you're not very tech savvy and that you can't handle new software programs or platforms you're not used to. Number 2, they'll think you're not a detail-oriented person that plans ahead of time. Number 3, it eats away at precious minutes that were scheduled for the interview. Think about it. If you have an interview for 30 to 45 minutes and you spend the first 10 minutes trying to play with your audio or your video settings for a video interview, it really just takes away precious time that you could be selling yourself in the interview process. Number 4, and this is really the most important one, if something goes bad or you can't get your mic working or your camera working, or maybe your internet speed is too slow, whatever, if that happens right at the beginning, it's super hard for you to recover from that. There's already this negative kind of vibe about you and the interview itself, and it's just really, really hard to recover from that. And by the way, interviewing is tough enough as it is, right? It's hard enough to win the job. So don't make it more difficult for yourself by creating these hurdles in the beginning and not being set up properly. So do this. Find out what platform you're going to be using for the interview and test it. If you're going to be using Zoom, by the way, just test it with a friend or a family member. Have them set it up. You set it up. Do a practice chat. Make sure the mic is set properly. Make sure the camera is set properly. Because if you're using a platform you haven't used before, your laptop may not know what mic to be set on, or the camera might not be set right, and you may have to make some adjustments. You want to get all that in ahead of time. Make sure you take care of that, okay? If they've given you a link or something to use, maybe you try the link ahead of time. Make sure there's not something you're going to have to download or put on your laptop to do the interview. And then finally, from a technical perspective, if you're in a place where you don't have good internet speed or good bandwidth, and the video is going to be choppy or delayed because you have poor internet service there, don't do it in that location. Move to a place and be ready in a location that has strong internet service, and you'll give yourself a much better chance to win over the interviewer. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. We truly hope you find our material helpful and entertaining. And while our podcast can be heard across most platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can become a supporter of this podcast by visiting our show on the platform Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm/Riderflex. You can also send us your questions or suggested topics for future episodes to the email address podcast@riderflex.com. Or drop us a voicemail at 888-964-5876, extension 710. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day.